In the previous programme, we looked at the overall objectives of the Tyram Lakes development. The intention to create a luxurious holiday facility in harmony with nature.
What we liked about the final brief was the fact that it was something that was going to be new and exciting and that had not been done before. We haven't seen anything like this that's been done before, certainly in the UK.
In the last year or so, we've been doing quite a lot of research on various eco-resorts and to see what we can learn from each other and what people are doing. And it's sort of interesting that none of the sites we've been to come anywhere remotely close to where Tyram Lakes is when it comes to sustainability and renewable energy, really.
It gave us a chance to show our skills as well on being able to incorporate the hotel side of our business into the holiday lodge environment.
What distinguishes this project from other projects is its interpretation of environmental design. Environmental design to date has been very pragmatic and it's not always associated with beauty.
Tyram Lakes is a deep green environmental development project where people come to enjoy a recreational leisure stay in an ultra-green project.
One of the most important aspects of a development to the people who'll be staying there is of course the design of the lodges, which was a mantle taken up by Rachel McLean. The brief Rachel accepted was to come up with different designs to meet the varying tastes of prospective guests.
I'm Rachel McLean and I'm the director of Rachel McLean Limited. What we liked about the final brief was the fact that it was something that was going to be new and exciting and that had not been done before. We haven't seen anything like this that's been done before, certainly in the UK, and that was very exciting for us.
Rachel and her team have taken the eco-friendly feel and set out with the goal to create a design that not only matched the surrounding nature, but one that would make Tyram Lakes guests feel a part of it.
What attracted us to Tyram Lakes development was the location. It was one of the main points. Doncaster is not somewhere that people would automatically assume there would be a development like this, but when I went to site for the first time with the client, I was absolutely blown away. It's the most beautiful location. The lake is absolutely fantastic and it's already created its own natural habitat, which is being left to populate. And with all these lodges that are going to be on the lake and surrounding the lake, I could totally see the vision that the architect and the client had come up with.
With the vision in place, Rachel set to work at creating a unique eco-friendly theme for each luxurious lodge.
Our vision for the lodges was a journey, so thinking of someone arriving at their lodge and it was not just seen as a holiday accommodation, it's actually seen as a home. So everything we thought about and put into the lodges was home from home, but even better than home. When we worked on the concept for the lodges, we approached it emotionally. We wanted to take a lodge and make sure we stayed clear of the caravan aesthetic, which can come across sometimes with the sort of glamping holiday accommodation environment. So we looked at it emotionally, looked at it touchy-feely, what was someone going to feel like when they arrived. They arrive at this amazing site, beautiful lake, surroundings, landscaping. We wanted them to walk into these lodges and just be blown away by the use of light, the use of materials, everything they touched and felt, and the use of the textures for us was really important. And we designed the internal spaces so that they would arrive and see all the way through the lodge to the lake at the other side. That was really important for us, so they got a sense of the beyond, not just arrival. We did face some specific challenges when designing the lodges. Because they were to be sustainable and eco-friendly, we always had that in the back of our mind when considering the design. For instance, water usage and electric supply we had to be mindful of. So for instance, you would expect underfloor heating, certainly in the bathrooms, in a lodge such as these. We knew we couldn't do this, so we were then looking at floor finishes that were warm underfoot, and which then led us to looking at finishes that were recyclable and things like that. The main features that we've incorporated in the 3 lodges that have been constructed are that they all have the same envelope within each, but the soft furnishing side and the furniture and lighting side is different within each. So we have, for example, a modern lodge, we have a classic lodge, and we have some bespoke Armani lodges. That's where we've differentiated them, but the actual finishes and the envelope of them are the same. One of the things that was very important to myself was the fact that we were given the opportunity to educate people that you can actually have a luxury environment in an eco-friendly environment. A lot of people have the perception that that's going to be a compromise, and it doesn't have to be.
As far as the ecological qualities of the development are concerned, a huge amount has fallen on the broad shoulders of Rob Miles of Immerser Solar Energy and on Lolly Olofsson of Geyser Thermal Systems.
My name is Robert Miles and I am the Managing Director of Immerser Limited. My background is I'm a lawyer and I came into the renewable sector about 10 years ago. I worked throughout Europe before joining a German company and coming back to the UK about 7 years ago, and then subsequently worked for British Gas as the head of commercial prior to joining Immerser.
My name is Lolly Olofsson. I'm the founder and CEO of Geyser Thermal Energy. I'm a heating engineer, a 3rd generation heating engineer, having learned my trade from my father and my grandfather. The company is Geyser Thermal Energy. We work with thermal energy and water solutions, in particular focusing on sustainable energy and renewable energy, working on saving energy and being as efficient as possible without using chemicals or burning fossil fuels.
The site had very limited access to any electrical or freshwater supplies. The challenge of finding a solution to this fell on the shoulders of Lolly Olofsson.
Yeah, there were a number of challenges on the site that we had to work with. First of all, of course, there was no gas supply on site. We didn't want any on that. We also had a very limited water supply and electrical supply. But instead, so we had to deal with all those things. However, the biggest solution to all of those problems was the lake itself. So we could use it as a heat source and a water source, which would take care of 2 of the main problems. And it's because we're using also solar PV panels and batteries to run them, it was extremely efficient without having to upgrade all of the main supplies. So we've found a good solution for that. The main challenges were approached by actually looking at what we had on site to work with, and which again was the lake itself. That was a key component that we wanted to use. It's a massive energy resource and a water resource that's typically underutilized. So we used that as a kind of a key to all of the solutions we built, and we built the solutions around the lake itself. Well, for future developments, I think it's extremely important to take into account the environment and the ecology. Resources everywhere. I think we all have a responsibility to think of the resources we have, and not just water and electricity and energy, but all resources we have. And to throw them away with energy efficient systems or stick our heads in the sand is really not feasible. So I think we all should do our bit.
Robert Miles had the huge task of providing renewable energy all year round. Achieving this in the United Kingdom is far from easy. In fact, it's one of the most difficult challenges the Tyram Lakes development faced.
This development is particularly important to me because I think we are in a position now in the UK to show that even though we don't have the same sun as the Costa del Sol, or the ability to utilise grid power isn't necessarily the first point that we need to look at anymore. I think we can prove right now through this project that even in Doncaster, which is a beautiful place but not necessarily renowned for the 300 days of sun, should we say, that even with somewhere like Doncaster we can take renewable energy, enhance that throughout the year and reduce imported energy from the grid by 72%. And to show that in this way, in this high profile way, I think is a fantastic promotion to what renewable energy and renewable energy technologies can now achieve. Batteries are key in the 21st century now because they've now come to a cost which is affordable and commercially feasible. Batteries have got a fantastic ability to service a multitude of requirements that come through from the national grid right down to us as an individual consumer. A battery can sit there to ensure the frequency of electricity that comes to our houses, which we see in a 240 or 220 volt plug socket. Well, that comes from a massive power station. If that doesn't come through right, we lose our power. Batteries are able to balance that and stabilise that supply. Also, if we have power outages, batteries can sit there to give us uninterrupted power supply to ensure that we have that continuity of power. Additionally, it gives us the ability to store over generation of renewable powers at times when we don't need it into times when we're not producing it. Now, this is all coming through a single product, so it's very easy now to see why a battery can become a fundamental part of how we start getting into a secure renewable power supply.
The battery helps provide and sustain natural energy throughout the year. No matter whether it's midsummer or winter, the battery can store excess energy for redistribution during the hours of high demand, ensuring that energy is always available without harming the ecological nature of the site. The importance of providing ecologically friendly and sustainable energy is embedded within the ethos of Tyram Lakes. The site is expecting to prove that nature, ecology and sustainability can be combined with luxury, creating the unique concept of luxurious holidaying in harmony with nature.
Well, there's a number of products we have and technologies we're using at Tyram Lakes which are quite unique. The three kind of most I would like to highlight would be, well, first of all, the next scale stop, which is the scale protection filter that we use instead of water softeners. And what they do will maintain the efficiency of the whole site thermal-wise from heat exchanger and such things for at least the next 20-30 years without any negative effects. We're also using an exfiltration called quantum disinfection. That's something we install on the hot tubs, so we don't need to use chlorine or any chemicals in the hot tubs, or the spa in the hotel, for example. That means you can go and be in the jacuzzi, the hot tub, or the spa, and actually enjoy the experience without feeling like you had a chemical bath. So it's actually just naturally hot, nice water.
This state-of-the-art development will embrace the current revolution in environmental awareness by offering a resort which is designed to function through environmentally accredited solutions that are energy efficient and which will engage and sustain the local ecosystems.
One of the things that was very important to myself was the fact that we were given the opportunity to educate people that you can actually have a luxury environment in an eco-friendly environment. A lot of people have the perception that that's going to be a compromise, and it doesn't have to be.
I think the thing that makes Tyram Lakes particularly different from other developments that I've seen is that ordinarily developers will take efficiency and renewable energy policies as a minimum requirement, and rather than looking at how they can best maximise and utilise these energies, these renewable energy sources, they do it as a ticking box exercise, whereas Tyram Lakes has had that as a core focus. And rather than looking at achieving minimal requirements, they've looked to see how they can make most utilisation of renewable energy technologies to get us to this state where we are passive chalets and minimal environmental impact.
The detail that has gone into the creation of Tyram Lakes is so evident. Every aspect of the individual design by Rachel and her team has been done with the environment in mind to create something that has never before been developed in Britain. The variety of different lodges that the 65-acre site offers creates that luxurious holiday feel by all the individual partners that have worked on the development pulling together to create something spectacular.
Most of the things we're attracted to the project itself was kind of the outlook that Tyram Lakes actually had themselves. And they were focusing on ecology and also long-term efficiencies, not just on a quick fix ticking boxes. They wanted a solution that was good for the environment, ecologically sound, but also future-proof with minimal maintenance. So it kind of fits quite well what we do.
Tyram Lakes is so much more than a hotel and spa. The Tyram Lakes project gives back to the community through its environmentally friendly approach and potential for holding grand events such as weddings, something that the local area would benefit from.
Future of Tyram Lakes development being a real pillar stone in what's achievable through incorporating ecological renewable powers into current development. It shows that commercial feasibility can be achieved right now, and as such, why should we be considering the introduction of fossil fuel powers and systems that are detrimental to the environment and to our future? So if that's one leaving factor that Tyram can prove, then I think it's done what it's needed to do.